It's been a long winter break, but now the hot Florida sun brings the Speed World Challenge alive again. Champions Champion is back. Former title victors return, and there's some newcomers that aren't fooling around. This is the season opener for the SCCA Speed World Challenge GT Championship. Now let's join Brian Till with all the off-season changes.
It's been an interesting off-season in the Speed GT Championship as series officials and competitors alike await the debut of one of the most anticipated sports cars in series history. The Cadillac CTSV is set to debut at the hands of Max Angelelli, former Cadillac prototype driver. It's been under development for more than a year. 500-plus horsepower, 160 miles an hour, and full factory support behind this effort should have an impact at the front of this field from the very first green light. Last year, German makes won 7 of the 10 races in the GT Championship, but winter brought an infusion of American muscle to the series. Most notable is 3R Racing switched from Porsche Cup cars to the Dodge Viper. Former Dodge development driver Tommy Archer pilots one of them, while team owner Tim Weems is in the other. There are no less than 5 other Viper entries for Sebring, led by leading Rookie of the Year candidate Mike McCann. Corvette will also be well represented on GT grids this season. Bill McClure returns in his 3R Racing Z06 to defend his race victories at Sebring and Mosport. Tom Oates will try to continue the trend that won him the 2003 Rookie of the Year trophy, and former champion Lou Gelati makes a triumphant return in his 3-car contingent from LG Motorsports. John Young's Celine was one of the quickest cars in the field in 2003 until a hard crash at Lime Rock virtually ended his season. Another champion making his return is Jeff McMillan, who took the crown in 2000. Jeff sat out last season after neck surgery, but is back for a full campaign this year. McMillan Motorsports will field 2 BMW PTG-prepared M3s this year. Leading a somewhat depleted Porsche contingent is veteran privateer Michael Culver, with John Groom and John Barassa also committed for the season. Well, the one thing that all these guys will have in common is they'll be chasing this car, the #1 champion racing Audi RS6, driven by defending champion Randy Popes. Randy and his teammate Michael Galati are back with champion racing. They want to put these Audis up front, but Randy, competition really heating up in GT this year. What have you guys done in the offseason to make sure these cars stay competitive?
We've got some bigger Toyo tires, but we had to give up some turbo boost and some horsepower. Overall, I think the certified Audi RS6 is a better package, and we're going to find out.
Well, one more question for you. A very simple question, but I know the answer is not that simple. Can you repeat? Can you win this thing again?
It's going to take a lot of brains. It's going to take a lot of good car preparation. Champion Racing can handle that. I'm going to need a little bit of magic on my end. I found it last year. Maybe we can do it again.
Well, words from a champion. He knows how tough it's going to be in GT this year. Competition, it should be great.
Brian, it most certainly should be. Great crowd on hand here. The spring break crowd are here en masse, enjoying some beautiful and typical southern Florida weather. And it's a wonderful day for round 1 of the Speed GT Championship for 2004. Hello, everyone. I'm Lee Diffie, along with our road racing analyst, Dorsey Schrader. Great to have you back on this championship, by the way. For the 4th consecutive year, the Speed GT Championship returns to the historical Sebring International Raceway. And for the past 3 years, we've had 3 very different winners in 3 very different cars. And if qualifying's anything to go by, that trend could continue.
Well, as Brian Till told us, Max Angelelli has been testing in secrecy this brand new Cadillac, and I'll tell you what, it's his first race, but he's no stranger to the car. In fact, he sits on the pole some 3.5 seconds quicker than last year's track record. Dodge is not laying down. They brought Tommy Archer back. We know what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely, a big Speed World Challenge name. Another name coming back to this championship, you heard it in Brian's off-season package there, is Lou Gelati. Tell us more about him, Brian.
Guys, the thing that is so great about this Speed World Challenge GT Championship is the diversity of the makes, like you talked about. Michael McCann in the Dodge Viper. You got John Young in the Celine Mustang, and Lou Gelati in the Corvette. All of these guys, top 10 drivers. In fact, both John Young and Lou Gelati have won races. Gelati, in fact, holds more GT victories than any other driver in the series and 3 GT championships. So you think they're all top 10 drivers, right? Well, they should be, but they're not. In fact, Lou Gelati qualified outside the pole. But when you look up this way, there are lots of cars in front of him. And why? It's because Michael McCann had a mechanical problem in qualifying, did not turn a lap. He will start at the back. John Young qualified well, but was a little light in post-qualifying inspection. He'll start at the back. Lou Gelati had a problem with a back marker, a slower car in qualifying, made contact, spun, flat-spotted the tires. Rules say you can change 1, but he had to change more than that, 2 flat-spotted tires. He'll have to start at the back. It should be a great run to the front. Hold on. It's a battle out there, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be a war.
That is going to be such hard work in this quality field here at Sebring. Time now to take a look at the Volvo track map.
Let me tell you something about Sebring. It's a very long, very fast racetrack. very long straightaways, and it screams for horsepower. Guess what GT's all about? Horsepower. And you're going to have to put that to the ground. You're going to have to go through all these corners. But I'm telling you what, drafting is going to be a big, important factor here, and we'll see who's got the most ponies. That Cadillac looks strong.
Such a challenging, exciting, and historical circuit. Always a great crowd here. Springtime at Sebring. What a place to be. Round one of the Speed GT Championship is up next. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And by Volvo, Volvo for life. Welcome back to Sebring, moments away from the start of round one of the Speed GT Championship. Let's take a look at the TGI Friday starting grid, and Max Angelelli, that awesome Cadillac, starts from pole. You heard Brian's update on Lou Gilotti. He did qualify second, but was moved to the back of the grid after changing tyres. Randy Popes will inherit that front row position from him, and Andy Pilgrim in the second Cadillac starts in a very strong position as well, in fact right behind his teammate. Phil McClure, last year's winner from Sebring here, well placed, and we really do welcome Tommy Archer back to the series, and big things expected from him.
Look there, Michael Galati, Leighton Reese, ex-Trans Am driver right there coming into this series. He will do good.
Back there in 26th in the BMW M3, the ex-PTG cars. Jeff McMillan and his team, and Gunnar Jeanette racing this weekend as well in an Audi S4. Brian Till, what do you have for us?
Well, at this start, guys, keep your eyes on Leighton Reese. He'll start in the 6th position. A longtime Trans Am competitor, veteran of road racing. He's very good. What he's not very good at and what he's never done is a standing start. And as we all know, these Speed World Challenge races are standing starts. Keep your eye on the green light and on Leighton Reese in 6th. He's got to get that thing off the line because he's got a lot of hungry guys behind him. Lee?
We heard before Randy Popes explaining that they've had to take a decrease in their boost. And I said, how's that going to affect you off the line? These Quattros are pretty awesome. He said, don't worry, we'll still be right.
All-wheel drive. Watch these Audis. They're going to jump to the front. He'll lead into turn 1, he told me, but he doesn't know if he'll get to turn 3 because he's down on power.
Here's the onboard with Phil McClure, last year's winner. In fact, he went back-to-back the first 2 rounds last year for the 3R Racing Corvette. We go on board the number 8, Andy Pilgrim. Can't wait to see how these things go in a race situation. Outside pole is the reigning champion, Randy Popes. And right alongside Randy, the pole man, Max Angelelli. How will he play this race? Will they go out right from the start, or will they sit back and play it with the Audi? The first race of the 2004 season for Speed GT. What does the reigning champion have for these awesome new Cadillacs? We will find out over the next 50 minutes. Set here at Sebring.
I bet you $1 the Audi leads in turn 1.
We saw it so many times last year. They are electrifying off the grid, and we wait for it. Randy will take the fight to the Cadillacs immediately. Lights are on now. The 2004 season is underway, and there goes Popes right from the get-go. And we've got someone stalled on the line.
Everybody buy it cleanly. That's good. A very wide turn. It is Andy Pilgrim. Look here, 5 wide already. Enter turn 1. You can do that here at Sebring, but you got to tighten it up.
And Michael Galati got up there as well with his teammates. So they're fighting Max Angelelli, but it's Popes who led them through. It's an Audi 1-2. Galati is there.
That's exactly what we thought we would see at the start. The all-wheel drive Audis jump to the front. Watch out, though, Angelelli and that Cadillac when we get on the straightaway. And that McClure, that Corvette. Oh, one off already.
Now, is that Randy? Yes, it is. Popes has gone wide. Problems early.
Well, luckily, he's all-wheel drive. That's real sandy. We see car stuck. He's going to get out of there, but he loses the entire field.
And he isn't getting out of there very quickly. There's major problems.
Sounds okay.
His teammate inherits the lead. Michael Galati leads from Max Angelelli. Great start, Tommy Archer in the Viper competition coupe for 3R Racing. Fabulous start for him. He sits third ahead of Phil McClure. Then it looks like Bob Woodhouse. Let's take a look at what happened. Opening lap, first couple of turns.
This is going in. Oh, just goes straight off like something broke. I mean, there was no reason for him to be that far wide.
Here's the onboard with Randy.
Something's gonna miss. You could hear it. Did you hear the clunk clunk? Something in the right front, I think, let go. I'm not sure, but I mean, he went straight on. He wasn't going quick enough to drive off like that.
And look at how slowly he's recovering. Usually, we've seen Randy go off track in these all-wheel drive Audis, and he just buries it and climbs out of there. Look at McClure, gets the 3R Corvette sideways, chasing his teammate Tommy Archer in the Viper competition coupe.
Now the big back straightaway. This is the horsepower I was talking about. Watch that Corvette dig. It should be getting out here real quick now.
Let's find out what happened. We see one of the Cadillacs on screen there. Let's find out what happened to his teammate Andy Pilgrim. Brian?
Lee, I talked to Dave Spitzer down at Cadillac. He said what happened was Andy was having some clutch creep there at the start, which means even though his foot was all the way down on the clutch was still somewhat engaged. The car was creeping forward. It stalled. It was hard to restart because it still had a lot of temperature in it from the warm-up laps. Once he got to go, and it should be fine, but it's cost him dearly. We're going to find out just how fast that Cadillac really is.
Exactly. He's playing catch-up big style now, and we will monitor Andy Pilgrim's progress. But up front, it's Audi, and this is a dream start for Michael Galati, the former champion.
It is indeed. He's up where he needs to be. He knows that he's slower in the straightaway. They've taken boost away and given him more tire. It handles better. It just doesn't have the ponies down the horsepower down the straightaway, and we're going to see that as the race unfolds.
Incidentally, Galati's car is a new car. Randy Pope's car is the one that he raced last year. They had 3 cars last year, did not race that third one, and this is the first time we see the brand new RS6 in race trim. They look fabulous with those new fatter guards, don't they?
Yeah, they look, all these cars, our muscle cars, they are the coolest deals on wheels, I'll tell you.
You're riding with Phil McClure. Up ahead is Tommy Archer. Both the 3R cars. You're riding with the Corvette. Up ahead, it's the Dodge. It's the Viper competition coupe.
Of course, Tommy Archer helped develop this car from the get-go. He knows a lot about it. Although he's just back into the series for the first time in a long time, he will be a factor, no question.
Angelelli, you get the feeling Max is sitting there. If he wanted to, perhaps he could just give it a squirt and take it back to Michael Galati. We'll find out later in this race if that's true.
Good look here of the smoother part of Sebring, if you can believe that. This has been repaved. And you'll look, all the cars pretty much flat coming through here. It's very fast. Now, when they make this next right hand, left hand, they'll go on to the old back straightaway. Was actually made for a B-17 bomber base back in the 1940s. They poured that concrete, and let me tell you, it'll loosen your teeth. It's so rough back there.
Brian, do you have more on Andy Pilgrim?
Absolutely, Lee. I checked in down here with the champion team. Mike Peters, the team manager, said it looks like he's lost his power steering. We don't know whether it was before the off or when he went off, but he's lost the power steering. He's got good power. He can run it. But Dorsey, as you know, imagine trying to hustle that thing around this racetrack with no power steering. He is going to be beat.
Yeah, that he will indeed. I mean, these are supposed to have power steering all the time. These tires make a tremendous amount of grip. And without the power steering, it's awfully hard to be smooth.
That, of course, was an update on Randy Popes, not Andy Pilgrim. Andy Pilgrim's back in the pack. You just saw a quick shot of him there, passing some of the guys further down the order in the field.
Uh-oh.
Big smoke on the front straight, and it's tire rub.
Yeah, he's been hit from behind. Look right there. Kevin's been hit from the back side of the right rear quarter, and it's pushed it up into the tire there.
And is there damage to the front of Michael Coulter's car? It's really hard to see at the moment.
Well, somebody's helped him along in his effort, that's for sure.
Here's Bob Woodhouse side by side with the 6 of Leighton Reese. They're having a great scrap early on.
Leighton to the outside. I don't know if he was forced out there. It looks like he's going to try to outbrake. The Viper's not going to happen here anyway.
It's for the last spot in the top 5. Woodhouse holds that at the moment. Up front, it's still Michael Galati ahead of Max Angelelli, Tommy Archer. The teammates still hard at it. You ride with Phil McClure. And a couple of the big names have suffered some misfortune early on. Andy Pilgrim and Randy Popes at the back of this field.
And right here, you're in the technical part of the racetrack, so you really have to be precise with the car placement.
We're up and away for the 2004 Speed GT Championship. Stay with us, plenty more. You ride with the new race leader back here at Sebring, round 1 of the 2004 Speed GT Championship. Max Angelelli has put the 16, the Cadillac CTSV, out in front, and here's how he did it.
Inside braking move right there and makes it look awfully easy as he goes underneath Galati. And that's a really tight corner off the backside there. I don't know, this makes that look too easy. I can't believe, look at here again. Good straightaway here, goes inside. Galati not even contesting that at all. That surprises me.
Fairly slick move from Max Angelelli. So it's the Cadillac from pole, now out in front comfortably over Michael Gallardi. Speaking of Andy Pilgrim, teammate to this guy Angelelli, he's made some great progress up through the field. He now sits in 18th. Brian, what do you have?
Well, guys, one of the things about the Audis in the offseason, they got a bigger tire all year long last year. We heard Randy Pobst and Michael Gallardi talk about they didn't have enough tire for the weight of the Audi. It was just overpowering the tire after a few laps. They got a bigger tire, and the car actually lost some weight. They now have a 305. So we thought the car would be much faster, much higher cornering speeds, but with the boost taken away, they claim they've lost some of their straight line speed. And in addition to that, the car is still pretty heavy. They say the balance hasn't changed at all. The tire just lasts a little bit longer. The problem is it won't last until the end of the race like they need it to. So they're still going to have their hands full on a challenge ahead. Lee?
So Gallardi maintains his second place. Look at the teammates, still hard at it for third. It's been a great drive so far from Tommy Archer as he closes in on Michael Gallardi. And Phil McClure is not letting him get away. In fact, all three 3R racing cars are in the top 10 with Tim Weens. The team principal sits back in 9th at the moment. So nice start to the year for those guys. Pilgrim now up to 14th. We will continually update you on the second caddy as he makes his way from dead last in this field. Nice work from him, and Lou Gilotti is following him through. Lou is up to 15th now, and here's John Young. John is up to 11th from way back in the field also. After coming in underweight at the scales, there was some confusion there. I spoke with John yesterday, and he said it wasn't the way I thought. He said, I thought I had my weight correct. He said the SCCA told me, they sent me an email. I didn't get it. There was a bit of confusion anyway, no drama. And so John added the extra weight, and now he's giving us another one of his characteristic storming drives from the back in the Saleen.
And doing it with a monster amount of forward horsepower, I can tell you that much for sure. I've driven cars like these before. They have so much horsepower versus the tire and the weight you're pushing. It's just a management act.
He comes up on Mike Culver, and I should have just get back to that. We were saying, is there damage on the front of Mike Culver's car? No, it's not. He's just got that new black strip across the bottom now, which he did not have last year. And John Young zeroing in on the back of the Porsche. Tim Weens a little further up the road, Gaples as well there, and Tonelli. So we'll see just how far John can catch up. Drove some amazing races last year until that pretty scary crash that he suffered in the wet at Lime Rock, which really, really put a dampener on his season last year. Back up front, the battle for third continues. Let's ride with the 3R Racing Corvette. This is Phil McClure, third in last year's championship. Well in contention. The Audi and the Cadillac aren't getting away.
No, they're not getting away at all. One of the great things to listen to the engine right there is when he goes onto the brakes and you hear the engine almost go to the point of lockup, which is the driver knowing that if I push a little hard on this brake pedal, I'm going to start to skid the tire. And so he can hear that. You can smell it. You can feel it. I just relived it, so it's great. Again, I said this is the technical part of Sebring. This particular series of corners coming up, you have got to have the car properly placed, or you're going to lose a lot of time. If you get off on one corner, it just leads to the next, and there's a catastrophic loss in speed.
Been some impressive drives so far, and one is Bob Woodhouse, who runs 6th at the moment. That's Leighton Reese just ahead, and here is Bob Woodhouse. Do you have more on this, Brian?
Well, you got to remember, Bob Woodhouse doesn't have much experience. Only 2 SCCA Speed World Challenge starts in his career with a best finish of 11th. And coming to a place like Sebring and running as well as he is, very, very impressive indeed. Look for more out of him in the future, Lee.
Got a great paint job on that car, incidentally, for our Speed viewers. If you get around to any of the Speed GT Championship rounds, get up close to this car and have a look. It looks terrific in the flesh.
It does indeed. Very, very colorful car. You see the heat coming off of those cars when they come down that front or that back straightaway, really pumping out a lot of heat.
Talking more about some Viper competition coupe drivers, the McCann brothers, Jim and Mike, are making their way through from the back of the field as well. Some drivers have had some misfortune this weekend. Jim McCann is currently 15th. His brother Mike is in 16th. Lou Gelati is 14th. Andy Pilgrim is 13th. And John Young is 11th. So their positions remain the same. In this 50-minute season opener, it's Caddy up front.
There's been a lot of anticipation surrounding the launch of the Cadillac CTS-V and Speed World Challenge this year. A lot of people really anxious to see the car, but obviously here at Sebring is not the first time this car has ever turned a wheel in anger. Max Angelelli, you've been involved with this program from the beginning, have a lot of miles in it. How long has this car been testing in secret?
Well, we started in April. It was about 20 years ago, more or less. We started last April. Last year we went all around the US, a couple of days every month. And now we land here in Sebring 2004, ready to go.
Now, you've driven a lot of different types of cars in your career, and you were involved with the Cadillac LMP prototype program. How does the technology from the prototype compare to this Speed World Challenge car?
Prototype is very high-tech car, so when I switched from prototype to the CTS-V, I was a bit worried, but actually I've seen a lot of Cadillac people, General Motors people involved on this program with a lot of technology, and surprised me a lot. And basically, they already have the technology in their cars, in the street cars, and we are using the same technology, and which is comparable with the LMP.
Well, that is the great thing about this Speed GT class. Technology on the street finds its way to the racetrack, and I can tell you one thing, this is not the Cadillac that my mom used to drive.
And that's exactly what Cadillac are doing. They are using this car to break that general perception of the brand. Brian.
And Andy Pilgrim definitely breaking that perception of the brand right now, setting fast laps out on the racetrack, trying to get back to the top 10. He's actually back to 9th place. But I can tell you, I was down here at the start. One of the scariest things that will ever happen to you in a standing start is a stall. I watched Pilgrim raise both hands up in the air, press them up against the roll bar, and brace for impact. Thank God nobody got to him. He was able to restart the car and go he is right now. But Dorsey, as you know, you've done standing starts. They can be the most fun thing you've ever done or the most horrifying.
Yeah, when you get them right, they're the most fun, and when you get them wrong like he did, you're just waiting for to get the wallop from behind. He is the fastest car on the race circuit right now by almost a second a lap as they've run off the last 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, he's running well. He's up to 7th now, so he continues that charge. But here's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's Audi, Viper, and Corvette, Gelati. Then we have the returning Tommy Archer and last year's 3rd place man, Phil McClure, who won here at Sebring. As he continues to push hard, has not really attempted to get by his teammate. He's content to sit in there behind. Whether he's got anything for Tommy Archer, we'll find out. Comfortably to the tune of 2 seconds is our race leader, Max Angelelli. That's the margin between he and Michael Gelati. Cadillac over Audi.
Lee, Cadillac came in here with this car, and it's almost like a different class car. It's built to a standard that no one's ever done before, and they have upped the ante. You have to believe that Chrysler with Tommy Archer is going to be the next combatant to build a purpose-built, clean sheet of paper car.
Every race that Cadillac has done as an official Cadillac program, this man, the Italian Max Angelelli, has driven every single race for them. And as you saw in that piece with Brian, that included the prototype program and now the CTS-V program. Dave Spitzer, who ran that prototype program for Cadillac, is in charge of this as well, and is very pleased with the results they've seen already. And Mark Leneve, the general manager of Cadillac, said go to Sebring and go and win.
I have to say that Max Angelelli is keeping the pace of the race at 2:12. Now, understand, he qualified it at 9 flat, so he's well within the confines of what he can run here. All these cars are able to run 2:12. This is a show that he's putting on. Believe me, trust me, he can run a lot quicker if he needs to.
Another lap down, and there's half an hour left to run. 50-minute race as usual, and that battle is still going on. Here's Leighton Reese, sits in 5th at the moment and has been sitting there for quite a while, running consistent lap times, and it's a good showing in the first one for 2004. Brian.
Guys, you talk about consistency and you talk about pace on all the guys. One of the reasons is because with all the different surface changes out here, it's really hard on tires, and there's also a lot of track temperature today. I checked with Lou Gelati and Leighton Reese. They're both concerned about making their tires last. Gelati set the car up to push early on. It'll go loose later. I checked in with Leighton Reese. His team said his tires are hot already. He's got to be careful. He'll burn them down before the end of the race if he goes too hard. They want a yellow is what they really want, Leighton.
In the Trans Am Series, Leighton Reese was known as the guy that got the most out of the least. He didn't have the budget of some guys, and he's not used to this class of racing yet. So he might have run too hard too early. That's what he's talking about, the back tires starting to go off. But he'll learn that. He'll learn it very quickly. He will be a competitor. He's very, very keen.
The overview is Angelelli, Galati, Archer, McClure, and Reese, the top 5. Peter Tonelli is doing well in 6th, ahead of Andy Pilgrim. How long that'll last, Andy's only a second and a half behind Tonelli. Then it's John Young, who's come right from the back of the pack to 8th. Bob Woodhouse is 9th, and Tim Weens runs in 10th.
Pilgrim just ran a 2:10.2, which is not too far off the track, or what the record was that Angelelli said. What is that, in fact, is 3 seconds a lap faster than any car in this field right now. So right now, you're looking at one Andy Pilgrim is really coming through here.
There's Peter Tonelli, and Andy Pilgrim has got by him now. So Andy continues this fierce and incredible charge. The former Corvette factory driver in the American Le Mans Series, now running in this program, and very excited. Tonelli gets all out of shape after running wide.
Yes, he does indeed, because he's trying to keep up right there with Andy, which can't do. Look at this dive down the inside. Look out for that wall.
Teammates.
And lots of up break up front.
Oh, Galati runs wide, and the teammates go side by side, and McClure has moved up into the top 3. So here comes Phil. He's not done with yet.
Let me tell you something. When something happens at the start of the race, like what happened to Andy, and you're down there and you're all the way back, you all of a sudden become Superman, and that's where he's at right now. He has got the thing between his teeth. He's got the finish, running really good. But these guys are racing for position right now.
And Michael Galati, after a dynamic start and a terrific opening stint, he has got the 3R Corvette all over him. Phil McClure continues his impressive run, but it's the Cadillac of Angelelli still in the lead. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by TGI Fridays. Right now, enjoy 2 eat for $19.99. It's good times, great food, and one amazing deal. Let's get back to it here at Sebring, round 1 of the Speed GT Championship for 2004. You ride with Max Angelelli, the race leader. He's got 3.2 seconds lead over Michael Galati, who, whilst we're away, had a few major brake lockups, and Phil McClure is really starting to zero in on. We've got contact here down in turn 17. One of the Vipers has gone around.
Well, don't back it
It's
into it.
El Sayed, I think.
That's not a good place to be backing up.
Whoa.
That is right on line, and that's a blind corner. Those concrete walls are taller than the driver's visual ability to see over them, and he's sitting right in a really nasty place. And it's the fastest place on the racetrack.
Yeah. Now gets going again.
There goes, actually, the leader.
The race leader, there's Galati. He has got a slight margin over Phil McClure, and then Tommy Archer maintains his 4th. There is the 02 machine, gets going again.
There goes Andy Pilgrim right there, and he is the class act right now. Up to 5th place, running laps at 2:10.6, the last one was, is 3 to 4 seconds quicker than any car in the field.
Riding now with Andy Pilgrim, and look up the road, and you will see Tommy Archer. Tommy's about 3 seconds now further up the road.
Great shot right there through turn 1. It shows you how blind it is. I don't know if you saw it. We'll look at it again later. The 100 marker is a reference to where the corner is, and that is the only thing you can see from inside these cars, which gives you a visual aspect of where you're at in that corner. Totally blind. It's like running through a tunnel.
Let's have a listen to this beautiful 5.7 litre V8. We'll get back to that. We get up here now with the battle for second again. Galati, a slight lockup, runs a little tight there and off the side of the track, but so too did McClure a short while ago. He got wild and sideways as he maintains this pursuit of Michael Galati.
I don't understand why Galati's locking this brake up all like he's been doing so far. Anyway, there's something a little bit out of balance on the brake system. I think it's a rear brake that we see smoking every once in a while when he gets into these corners hard.
Mike McCann continues his fine charge further back in the field. He's just outside the top 10 in 12th again.
There it is again. Now what will happen is if you actually flat spot this tire in the back, it will get a square edge on it. And every time you brake hard, it'll get to that square edge and just stop rotating. Then you run the risk of blowing it out. You'll actually rub all the rubber away from it, and it'll blow right out.
There's the man who's being chased, and he's being chased by Andy Pilgrim. Galati still in second behind Max Angelelli, McClure, Archer, Pilgrim, Reese, Tonelli still there in 7th. From John Young, that's been a brilliant drive, one of the drives of this race. Woodhouse and Weens, that's the top 10. ahead of the former champion Lou Gilotti. And there's a great shot. That paints the picture perfectly. The car on the right, the black one, is number 8, the CTSV of Andy Pilgrim. He stalled on the line, if you've just joined us, and he was dead last. Everybody missed him, and he has come through to now be in 5th and is challenging for 4th.
Let me tell you something. Forget about it. He's running 210. They're running 214 in front of him. He's going to smoke by these guys up to Angelelli. Then I don't know what's going to happen. I'll tell you what I would do if I was Angelelli. I'd quit running these 212s because he's just stroking around keeping these guys behind him. I'd kept running those 209s again. These Cadillacs are fast. Let me tell you. No doubt about it. Pilgrim's coming. He's going to go right by these 3 guys like nothing.
Look at this. McClure starting to hassle Gilotti as well. He's on the wrong side that time, but the pressure is intensifying. And speaking of the Audi driver, let's find out what happened to his teammate.
James Boughty on the radio right now with Randy Popes. James, I know it wasn't the start that you guys wanted. You had a problem with the power steering. But when I came down here, the truck was open. What's going on?
Well, we weren't sure if we could get the belt back on because it threw a belt, and the belt connects the alternator and the power steering. So we were trying to get the belt on, and we weren't sure if we were able to, so we started changing the battery. Had a little miscommunication. He took off, but he's okay. We're all okay.
Well, the leg bone's connected to the thigh bone, guys. Same thing with the race car, Lee.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Michael Gilotti is in trouble with that Audi because he's locking that brake up right there behind him. McClure is seeing that. Every time they get in the brake zone, he sees that puff of smoke. To me, that means kill. Run him in there deep. Make him flat spot his tires. Make him go off the racetrack. And it's showing the telltale signs. There's a lot of race left. That car's hurt.
When we had that onboard shot with,
there it is.
With Phil McClure, this Audi just climbs off the corners. Unbelievable.
Well, it does. That's an all-wheel drive. It got down there in the hairpin. You saw it. He just went, see ya.
This race is far from over. Angelelli might be cruising up front, but Gilotti is fighting off McClure, and Pilgrim is coming. Stay with us. Back at Sebring, round 1 of the Speed GT Championship. You ride with Andy Pilgrim, who finally got Tommy Archer, and he is now in 4th up ahead. That is Phil McClure. Let's ride with Andy for a moment, and let's listen to this Cadillac.
Let me tell you something. That's telling me a lot. You know what it tells me right now, Lee, is that the tires on this Cadillac are straining. Andy is not able to go through that last section flat. Normally you can do it flat. Right now, listen. Now he's full throttle. If he goes any more throttle in the middle of the corner, it's going to spin the tires, and he won't allow that to happen. Watch here. This pass is going to be easy. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Comes up on Phil McClure and says, thank you. There's another one, and I am sitting now on the podium.
Now realize that Andy's been running 2-3 seconds, sometimes 4 seconds quicker than the entire field. He's been butchering his tires. He knows that, and that's right now why he's pulled the rein back. He knows that he can't go that hard, that long. There's a lot of race left.
Ryan.
Right on the nose, Dorsey. I talked to Dave Spitzer down at Cadillac. He said, in all of our endurance testing and all of the tire testing that we've done, we've never run this hard, this long. So you're riding along with us. You're testing our tires with us as we go. We don't know how long you can run that fast. I think we just found out.
Well, Brian, you know, just listening to the throttle response, I can tell that he knows that he's out of tire or he's going to hurt the tires if he pushes any more. He's a master at that. You can just listen to him feed the throttle just a little bit at a time, not full throttle until he gets to the straightaway. So you're absolutely right. That thing is, he's really pushing hard.
It's only a matter of time until we see a Cadillac 1-2. Look how fast he's closing in on Michael Gilotti.
And Michael, of course, we know already has a flat-spotted right rear. I believe he does anyway. He's got a braking problem. I don't know if Andy's aware of it yet or not, but as soon as he sees this Cadillac behind him, he's going to have to try to brake deep, and it's to no avail. Andy's coming, buddy.
Lou Gilotti in his return drive to the Speed World Challenge had a spin. Let's have a look at the replay here. And there goes Lou off onto the grass in the LG Motorsports Corvette.
He will add a lot of excitement to this series, let me tell you. You're not aware of him as much as I am. This guy can be a lot of fun.
Lou Gilotti, it's great to have you back. But he'll be disappointed with that. He's, after qualifying second, we can't forget that. He flat spotted some tyres and had to change all and went to the back of the grid. That's why he was working his way through. Almost got into the top 10. That spin now has hurt him. Mike McCann is the best of the rookies in the field. Sits there in 11th position at the moment.
Watch here now. Andy Pilgrim's got his sights set on Missile Michael Galati right there. I don't know if he's got enough speed in the straightaway to do anything about it yet or not. I don't think he does. But by now, Michael knows his days are numbered. And again, you see the smoke, and that's not a place that normally you lock a brake going into turn 17 because it's a long, shallow brake zone, not a tight, hard one.
Take that back about the best rookie. It is Bob Woodhouse, who sits in 9th. He's having a great day here at Sebring. And look at this. You ride with Andy Pilgrim. Galati on the right of screen into turn 1. Galati goes for the wide option, and Andy slips through. So from last to second, and we've still got a little over 10 minutes remaining.
Michael knew there was no use, no wonder, you know, no need to turn down on him because it's going to happen. He's seen it coming. His pit crew's been telling him, here he comes. You know, Andy's coming. He's 2 seconds a lap quicker than you. Michael did the right thing. Said, all right, go on.
The new structure this year with rewards weight. If you win a race, a Speed World Challenge race, you get 75 pounds for winning. I think it's 60 for second. So the caddies are going to get that. At least. We've got more to come here in round 1 of the Speed GT. Stay with us. Back at Sebring, the Speed GT Championship continues, and Phil McClure may have some issues down there. He is dropping. He's still in 5th place, but time's dropping, and he's lagging a long way behind now and nowhere near his teammate Tommy Archer.
Listen to the throttle. He's in too tall a gear right there. I think he might have lost maybe a 3rd gear again. Back up front, it's only one story. It's all Cadillac. Angelelli now leading over Andy Pilgrim. Lap times 2:12.8 for Angelelli, 2:12 flat for Pilgrim on the last lap. We'll see what the team play is here.
Brian Till, what do you have for us?
Well, you talk about team play. I saw the officials writing some notes. I asked them if somebody had been bad. They said, no, these are just the cars going to impound. Lo and behold, 8 and 16 are on there, huh? Funny guys. Also asked Dave Spitzer, what are you going to do now? You got 1-2. Who's going to win this race? He said, we'll let them fight them out. I don't know. He had a funny grin on his face when he said it.
Yeah, Angelelli is a big member of the family. Andy Pilgrim's been part of the GM family for many, many years, but for Cadillac, Angelelli's their boy at the moment.
Listen to the throttle. They're not even using half throttle. It's a done deal. Angelelli will win. Listen to the throttle. They're not, I mean, they're just stroking right now. Listen when they come to the hairpin. They won't even make max revs. Listen. That's a great feeling when you hear that engine doing nothing. You know, that means, hey guys, I got a half a lap, we're winning.
What a display. What a display from the CTSV on debut. First race in the Speed World Challenge. It's been a year in the making as far as testing. It was almost a year ago that they started their testing program. Angelelli worked in secrecy last year with the Cadillac team, Dave Spitzer and the entire gang, and what a program they have put together, what a car they have put together, and they have just flattened the opposition.
Helen Keller can see this one's over, folks. Let me tell you, they're going to come across the line very nearly side by side. It's going to be a photo op, and that's when you really got it your way.
Just a little over 5 minutes, not even that remaining, as they are cruising.
We're hearing that Phil McClure's problem isn't that he's out of gas, but he's out of the ability to pick up gas. The fuel pickup tank, or the pickup inside the tank, isn't getting the last bits of fuel. He'll still make it to the finish. He just can't go there quickly.
The final stretch, they're coming home, and what an incredible display from the Cadillac boys. Max Angelelli from pole to what will be victory. Checkered flag is in sight here at Sebring. Round 1 of the Speed World Challenge GT Championship, and it's a Cadillac 1-2. What a performance. Angelelli and Pilgrim in formation across the line. They congratulate each other, but especially Andy Pilgrim to come from the back of the pack, a storming drive. John Young did exactly the same, but just not as high. Young has got it up well and truly inside the top 10, and he's got past Leighton Reese. So the Celine has gone from nearly last into 6th. Great drive, John Young.
Yeah, it's a good-looking hot rod he's got right there. A lot of horsepower. Leighton Reese will learn about these cars. He'll get better as the year goes on, I guarantee you that.
So Galati stands on the podium as well. Archer, McClure, and then John Young finishes ahead of Leighton Reese. He gets 6th as we ride to the break with our race winner, Max Angelelli on debut. What a performance. Each Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, it's the Barrett-Jackson Car Search. Hunt, gather, and auction. 3 teams of experts compete to find that undiscovered gem in the collectible car world. Get into it, it's great. Barrett-Jackson's Car Search. Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's have a look at the results from round 1, and we know about that awesome Cadillac 1-2. Well done to Michael Galati. Despite the problems he hung on, it wasn't a great day for his teammate and defending champion Randy Pope. Some new names and some returning names. Well done, Archer. Phil McClure had his problems towards the end there. We congratulate the Sunoco hard charger. Mike McCann in the 82 made 21 positions from his starting spot. Great first day for him. What could he have done if he hadn't had those problems during practice and qualifying? So that's the way it sits for him. And a tough day for some for the season opener, but a long way to go. Now let's hear from the drivers of those 2 awesome CTSVs. Here's Brian.
Well, Max Angelelli getting the accolades from his crew. Max, fantastic job, buddy. Fantastic job from the beginning. Just running a nice pace to try to conserve a little bit there. I know the track pretty abrasive on tire.
Yeah, I was struggling. It was not easy. Maybe easy outside, but I tell you, it was pretty difficult. Sometimes Galati was catch me back, so I had really to push. And I went straight in the corner. Almost at the end, that really scared me. That was good. I'm happy for the team. Car is absolutely outstanding.
Well, we'll see if we can get Andy Pilgrim over here. See if we can get Andy. I know he's standing over here. A lot of excitement on the team here. A lot of fans down here. Drive of the race by you. The stall at the beginning, I know you had to be scared to death, but what a drive you put on. Had to be concerned about burning the car down, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. What happened on the start, the clutch started to drag, and I stalled the car way before the red light went on. And as I pulled my hand down, the main switch is under, I hit the main switch off. So then it wouldn't fire up. Then I realized the main switch was off. Then it wouldn't fire up because the clutch was locked. It's just lucky that it went going, and then it was because the clutch just fried up.
What a fantastic drive, though, on the way back. I think I may go buy a Cadillac, guys.
An eventful start, but an unbelievable finish. Well done to Angelelli and Pilgrim. We'll have more in just a moment. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform, and by Volvo. Volvo for life. Back at Sebring, welcome back. Let's take a look at the points after round 1, and Max Angelelli with a maximum. What a day for the Italian. Pole and the win. Doesn't get any better than that with their first race in the Cadillac CTSV. And Galati did a nice job to stand on the podium as well and get his championship back on track after a frustrating 2003. He's with Brian.
Well, Michael Galati, great run today. It's got to feel good to be back on the podium after the year that you had last year. Those bigger tires helping the Audi right now?
Well, they did. I got to tell you, the Audi Pre-Owned, certified pre-owned, I mean, it was incredible. The RS6 and Champion did a fantastic job. We made a good stride forward. The guys stay a little bit more consistent, but today, I mean, we did all we had. It was a good race, but I think those guys are on a different planet.
Well, obviously Cadillac very strong on the track, but the car you still want at the green light, guys, it's the Audi. It's a rocket ship. Lee?
Yeah, the Audi did a nice job today. Feel a little sorry for our reigning champion Randy Popes with those power steering problems, etc., but he will bounce back at the next event. We congratulate Galati on another front. He picked up the Remus power move of the race, going 7th to 1st, and let's take a look.
Watch Michael Galati go up. He goes all the way from the outside to the inside. Now he's going to run up the inside. Here he is over here. Take a look at this. He's getting the big run going, headed toward turn 1. And with that all-wheel drive, it gave it the big jump that he needed. But that was a gutsy move, Lee, to go all the way across like that.
Yeah, good thinking, and it was only a matter of seconds until his teammate went off. Final thoughts, quickly.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great thing. These Cadillacs are awful strong, but they're going to get a little weight. They're going to get a little fatter. We'll see what happens. Tommy Archer's going to be good, man. I'll tell you, he's going to get better. People
will react to this Cadillac strength, and we are in for a very exciting season. On behalf of Brian Till and Dorsey Schrader, I'm Lee Diffie, and on behalf of the entire Speed TV team, we are very much looking forward to this Speed GT Championship for the remaining year. Will Cadillacs be the dominating force all year long? We will find out. See you at the next round. Thanks for joining us here at Sebring.